And we're live. That's the key word, live. Hey, everybody. Thanks for showing up today to Agents Who Win, my Facebook page to try and bring value back to the agent community. I'm Todd Schroth, eXp Realty. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Robin Winkler with Celebration Title. Thank you for being here.
For having me.
I wanted to, we just did a business planning event on Tuesday, and I saw a lot of value in what you brought there. So I wanted to kind of just talk on, hey, it's, we're coming up at the end of 2020 and how to really, get into 2021 with success. But first I wanted to talk about Celebration Title and what you guys do and the value you're bringing back to the agents in Florida.
All right. So we are obviously Celebration Title Group. And Celebration Title Group was founded on the relationship between us and the buyers. So Amanda Douglas had felt that every closing transaction should be a celebration. It's a big moment in people's lives. There's a lot of money changing hands, and it should be celebrated. I mean, it's the American dream. But we are so much more than a title company. We say that title is our mantra, but we're basically a marketing company wrapped into a title company. So we like to bring value to our real estate agents. It's not just about the contracts and making money. It's about bringing value. So we like to partner up with our real estate agents and lenders and help you guys grow your business. So we are not account executives. I am not a business development manager. I am your lead success partner. Why is that? Because I'm leading you into success. I'm helping out my agents. We offer online classes, which is called Celebrate You Online, which Todd has down here on the bottom. You can go on there and you can take any of our classes. It costs you nothing. And it's everything that we teach, whether it be in person or Zoom. We teach everything from Title 101 to Facebook marketing, to how to run ads, to Instagram, to TikTok, to anything you can think of is what we teach on. But we also will co-brand with you guys. We'll door knock. We'll help you with your leads. We'll help you with your mailers. There's just so much that we offer. I could product vomit all day long, but the best way to do it would be to reach out, give me a call, and let's sit down and have a chat or a Zoom call and tell people what Celebration Title is all about.
Robin, can you drop in your Instagram link or a way for people to reach you online so I can pop that in the feed as well? Would be awesome.
You got it.
So as I'm talking to a lot of new agents, they're asking about, we talk about marketing and stuff. The beauty of what I've got going on is I have a full-time marketer. I have a full-time closing coordinator. We have, leadership classes that we have and stuff. And like one of the programs that we talk about is Canva. I'm looking at your website right now and it's like Canva. I would be scared to jump into that program, but you guys have a class on it right here. You have buyer communication strategies, how to get the buyers to commit to you. Let's see, selling new construction, getting to the closing and stuff. And I love the fact that you guys don't stop with the seller. You're not just seller agent focused. When I had a meeting with Amanda, it was all about, hey, this is, our business is based on the buyers like you talked about. And because that's where we get a lot of our new clients from, is working with those buyers agents, because we treated them as part of the transaction. And a lot of other companies don't do that. They look at it as buyers agents as us and say, you're not our customer, so we're not going to worry about you. The selling agent and the seller is our customer. Right. Well, I could have been your customer, but you guys gave us such a horrible experience that if I saw your title company again, I'm going to put your name down, pay the title insurance myself if I had to for the buyers, so I don't have to have that same experience and put my buyers through the ringer over there.
I agree.
So, I love the title, lead success partner as well, because one of the things that you talked about, you want to lead us to success. When we did our meeting on Tuesday, you talked about, you want to get to 100 closings a month. And how do there was
100 contracts a month.
100 contracts a month. I want to see closings, not contracts, but closings.
Oh, we blow away 100 closings a month. 100 contracts will bring in 100 or more closings for me a month. We blow that out of the water.
So, there was 25 of us in the room on Tuesday, and it's like, how do I get from 70 to 100? And so it's like, how can I help those 25 people in the room each sell one more house that can bring me one more piece of business? Right. And so we broke down plans to help each agent. If we could just sell one house a month, that's going to get you your number that you need there. to get there. And I love that, you're not an account exec, you're not anything along that line. You are helping us build our business. And a lot of title companies don't do that. And it's not, they're just like, hey, give me business, I'll buy you lunch. No, how do I help you and how do I help you grow?
Right. So you can buy your own lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. You could buy your own drinks. We want to bring the value to help you grow your business. I don't want to make you fat and full.
I love the cupcakes at birthday time. It's like, which person in the office do I not like right now? Here, go gain 3 pounds.
Yeah. I like to say that I am not your cookie delivery girl title company, because how many of them deliver cookies and holiday sweets? Like that's not me. You're never going to see me come in and bring you cookies. Sorry. If you guys love cookies, I'm sorry.
Really nice box of chocolates that I'm like, I don't like the stuff, but anybody else want these? They're really sweet. They look really good, but hey, thanks. Right. So diving into, the business plan, and that's what we're here to talk about today, is how to really crush 2021. And so, it's not just about, what, us bringing you business, about how can you help us develop our business. And so what are some of the key things we talked about on Tuesday? One of them was, the first thing is like, what are we most grateful for? So let's talk about why that's important.
Well, it's important to know your why and what you're grateful for. So obviously the money's fantastic, but that's not your why. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your loved ones. You're doing it for a bigger purpose. So it's breaking it down to what you're grateful for and what that looks like to you moving into 2021. Is it financial freedom? Is it you want to buy, your parents are retiring and you want to buy them a house closer to you? Do you want that house on the beach so you can have more family time with your family, so you can do boating or whatever? It's celebrating that why and finding out like what you're grateful for. When you have that sort of a mindset going into the new year, you're more adaptable and to hit those, we call them commitments, we don't call them goals, to hit those commitments when you're looking at it in that way and you're holding yourself accountable. I feel like if you find out what that why is. I mean, yes, the money's great, but what does that money do for you? Does it give you financial freedom? Does it give you more time with your family? Is it working smarter, not harder? I mean, how do you get to that next level, but still have gratitude and still live that life that you want to live?
And so some of the questions you had, like what hasn't worked, what's worked great. If we had a second chance to redo things this year, obviously we would all love to redo 2020. Some of us, what could we do? We got 2 weeks left in the year. What can we do to make the rest of the year successful? Because this month really pivots into the first quarter of 2021, or the following year.
Well, and that's like we talked about in the meeting is being honest with yourself. Yeah. Like when I meet with an agent, the first 2 questions I ask you is, what are you doing really well in your business? And what are you doing not so well? Because you want to find that pain point, and you want to be honest with yourself. Is what you're not doing really well in your business is following up with your past clients? Well, if that's what you're not doing well, then we need to find a way to get you to do that better moving into the next year. But it's being honest with yourself. It's not being like, oh, well, I'm amazing and I do everything well. I mean, we don't, and we all know we don't. But it's just like you said, it's 2 simple sentences. What do you do well? What do you don't do well? If you change what you don't do well and add that one little piece into your business, that could take you from 70 contracts or 70 closings a year to 140. It could double your business.
Well, I was on the phone with our coach yesterday, and he asked, normally we're just talking about business strategies, business ideas, and business plans as far as like what's the next thing we're going to implement to bring new business in. And just out of the blue, what's your morning routine? And I was like, it sucks. We wake up, we kind of chat, we figure out what's going on. Dogs, they're like they rule our mornings, and then the kids.
They're worse than kids.
They are, especially one of them. So it's like, he recommended some books. Like, if we can win our mornings, we can win our days. And we can win our days, we can win our weeks and our year. And so it's like some of the books he recommended were more. God, I can't remember the name.
Miracle Morning.
Thank you, Hal Elrod. And he co-branded one with Michael Reese and Jay Kinder, Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. And I think it's a success. 90% of the audience is real estate agents. So it's like, if you read that, you're going to help win. And they also talked about the Tony Robbins morning routine as well. I've walked fire. It's great. Tony Robbins is he's got a lot of passion in what he does. And I think if just listening to somebody who's passionate about what they do, I don't care what the topic is going to help push you further.
Right. But you got to find what works in your life. Just because they say this works for them doesn't mean. And I just did my business plan with my sales manager, and we both decided that we're going to get up an hour earlier, 1 hour earlier than we normally do, and tackle the emails. Because I feel like your emails, especially me, like rule my life. Like you spend so many hours on them. And sometimes it's just waking up that 1 hour earlier to get those things due, even if it's waking up to yoga or just to get your mind right before you tackle your day. Because I know for me, like you were saying, I hop out of bed, I'm like, Ryder, hurry up, get ready, we got to get to school, we got to do this, we got to do that. And then by the time I get home, get ready for my day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And it was just trying to get ready in the morning.
Right. And that's the biggest challenge. Like if we can gain that 1 hour. Now mine's waking up an hour earlier and just being as quiet as I can so I don't wake up the dogs or anybody else. Because I do get a lot accomplished that, the 5 to 6. I'm usually up at 6 a.m. But if I can get that 5 to 6, that's key because I have some quiet time, concentrate, do what I need to do.
Yeah, it kind of sets the tone for your day.
Trying to look at some other things. So you had like 8 key points that we had talked about. One was personal achievement, financial goals, material possessions, spiritual life and well-being, physical health, business goals, contribution giving back, and relationships with your spouse, kids, parents, etc. I loved how all of that tied into each other because, like, what is something I want to accomplish personally? Mine was I would love to run another marathon in 2021. I got to wake up an hour earlier so I can start training. Financial goals. What do you want to be? Is it, do I want to have a large bank account? Do I want to be able to, the financial goals could be having a large bank account to give back. Material possessions, we talked about, do I want a beach house? Do I want an office building? Do I want, what does it look like? So you have that, we do our vision boards, I guess you can call it.
Right.
And you put the boat, whatever. I mean, whatever thing you want, you put up there, the mountain house, if those are your material possessions, the new car, maybe that Tesla makes you feel good. So put the Tesla out there. Physical health and business goals, contribution. Some of the things I wrote down on that were we loved that we had a great year this year and we were able to give back to the schools for food banks. We were able to give back to, to one of the large charities this year for Christmas. So just finding things like that, I think we're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. And it's writing it down. I know when we did our exercise, we wrote down, 10 different things, even if it's 5 things. It's writing down your different things in those categories and then circling the one that's most important to you. Because I feel like we all set so many commitments for the year and then we don't get half of them done. And then you feel like a failure or you're moving them into the next year because we all set our sights so high and we should because it is attainable. But if you have too much stuff, break it down and just focus on those few different things and those categories and then have that be your commitment for the year because it's a lot easier to achieve and reach it if you break it down to this is what my focus is for the next year. And then at the end of the year, when we had talked about, I did mine last year, at the end of the year, when I went back and looked at it, when I was doing my 2021 goals, I couldn't believe how much of what I put out there I accomplished.
We had one of our coaches that we work with, and you break things down by quarter, and it's like the 90-day rocks, they called it. So, we have our new business coach that we're working with. It gave us this whole long list of things we're going to accomplish. And I looked at it like it was overwhelming. But no, we're not gonna like just activate all the stuff at one time. We're going to pick out the top priorities. Once we get this done, then we're going to go to the next step. And I'm like, but I want to go to Z. Let's just get right to Z. No. Slow down. We need to work on A through D. Then we'll work on, the next 4, then the next 4.
Right.
And I think it's better to do that because it's, it can be fast growth, but you've just got to make sure you implement those first 4 things quick enough to get to the next 4. One thing that we do with our team when we're onboarding new agents, we have a 0 to 100-day onboarding process. And, the first 30 days is really diving in, learning the systems and stuff. And I tell some people, look, if you can knock out the 30 days in a week, we're going to turn your lead generation on. And I've got some agents who are still like 6 weeks in working on their 30 days and or some that knocked it out in a week. So if you get them done quick enough, you know, you're going to get the business moving that much faster. But I love how, you know, it's like what some of your questions you had were, you know, the 1 year objective, the 90-day targets, what needs to happen to be there. What will you do to make that happen? And then what are your weekly must do's, you know, clear daily actions that need to be part of the weekly program. So it's, I think if you can hit those, then you can definitely, you know, break it down. But you broke down each one of those main sections. So it was, you know, what's the personal achievement? So I take those, break those down. The financial goals, break them down. Not, you know, 1 year, 90, 4 weeks, 1 day, spiritual life, physical health, all of it broken down into, sorry, I'm going through your business plan here. And
that's fine. Well, and breaking it down makes it more attainable, because if you have just like, you know, like for me, I want 100 contracts a month. Okay, that's great. I can write that on paper, but how am I going to get there? I need to break it down by what are my daily activities? What are my weekly activities? And I'm sure, like most of you, I live and die by my calendar. I write down everything every day on what my to-do list is. And I have a little highlighter, and I love to highlight what I've done. But I know every week what I need to get done and what I need to get done to get me to where I want to be. And that really helps me, because I feel like we are all so pulled in 100 different directions, especially you guys as agents. If someone calls you up and says, hey, I'm sitting in front of this house, I want to write a contract. If you're working on something on your computer, what do? You're like, oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I mean, you're not going to turn down the business because you're like, oh, well, I have on my daily task that I'm supposed to be making phone calls right now. Well, great. You're not going to pass that up. So it helps to just write it down. And if I don't get to it, I don't feel bad. I just move it to the next day, or I move it to the next week. If it's something that I didn't get done that week that I needed to get done, I will banish it from my life, because I don't want to see it keep moving forward. And then I stress myself out about it. Like if I don't do exactly.
This is my to-dos of, I need to keep sorting through and going through, and I have the stuff in there I haven't done yet. And what you're looking at is 3 yellow pads of notes, and it's probably half garbage or should have been done already. And it's like, what's the point at this time?
But that's me. If I haven't done it and it needed to be done 2 weeks ago, like I send out stuff when people get new listings. Well, if I haven't gotten to my new listings for like 3 days, 3 days have gone by. I'm deleting them. I'm deleting them. I'm like, why stress out about it? I didn't get it done. I'm going to delete it. Get it out of my vision, so that I'm not like, oh my God, I'm a failure. I didn't do it. Get it out of your sight. Crumble up that piece of paper and throw it away. You didn't do it. You're not going to do it. Let's be honest. Throw it out.
Right. No, it makes it easier. So moving on to, like, you know, we've talked about mindset and why that's important, and you know, the top 8 things with the financial, mental, and physical, and all the other stuff. So let's talk about business goals. You know, you had us write down a revenue goal and what we want to get to. Revenue, not net or growth, just what we want our top line to be and how we want to get our business there. You know, I get a lot of, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups that talk about, hey, who wants 103 ways to find business? Who wants this? Who wants that? And, you know, and it's funny because when you break down, like, our main 3 businesses are Google pay-per-click, or we can call it Google, Facebook, and Zillow. But if I go into Google, there's 6 different ways we're getting business out of Google. Facebook, there's 12 different lead sources we're using that are funneled through Facebook. Zillow, there's like 4. And it's whether you're buyer, seller, or, you know, whatever. There's a couple that are on there. And then you've got your open houses. You've got all your other stuff. You know, Jeff, who was just in here, he doesn't do Facebook or Google. He's strictly open houses. So he knows his number 1 source. Number 2 is Google. Number 3 is the Sphere. And so he's got his 3 down. Like where I'm running and feeding agents, I'm trying to figure out that 103, but then I get lost in the shuffle because it's like there's so many different sources that you're trying to manage and keep up with. So like I wrote down my revenue goals X, and what I'm going to do to get there is the database. So now we have to have a conversation. How do I get in touch with my database even more? Number 2 is referrals. You know, there's variation in referral sources. You got agents, you got vendors, you've got, you know, your clients, you've got your family. And then number 3 is Google. How can I get rid of Zillow? But how do I get Google working and running successfully? Because it seems that's where everyone's going, is that direction. So I want to get ahead of the game. People who are having a lot of success with that.
Right.
And So it's just, you got to pick 3 that are going to work and really dive into those heavy. Talking to the agents that you've been working with, what are some of their top 3s? And I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm just curious.
So their top 3s are, I know Facebook is a big one. I have quite a few agents that get all of their business from Facebook because they're very active on Facebook. And referrals, staying top of mind with their past customers. I mean, that's your bread and butter right there. Is who people that have already worked with you that like you, they're going to refer you to other people. And we all know people buy and sell houses all day long. Even if you sold them something 3 to 5 years ago, they're getting something else. So I know a lot of the referrals work in that database and then just try to stay top of mind. And I do hear a lot of agents talk about that they buy the leads like Zillow and all that stuff, but I don't know very much about that. To me, I think it's a lot of money and you're on like a round robin. So depending, whoever spends the most money gets the phone calls first. And to me, that's just Zillow's. I mean, they're making out like a bandit. I would practice more, like you were saying, Todd, the social media aspect, building those groups and those relationships with people that you know or that you've met and their friends, because it's their friends that are going to buy and sell from you.
Well, what's funny is when you look at Facebook, people will sit there and say that hold on one second, create banner. With Facebook, there's paid sources and there's unpaid sources. The unpaid sources are posting your success stories. I just closed, or hey, look at me, I'm selling real estate, and it's not a brag. It's just, hey, I did have 5 closings this month, or it's Happy Friday. I love Fridays because Fridays are my closing days.
Right.
Showing the confetti cannons, with your clients that Celebration has. Posting that stuff because you make it look fun and you become that fun person that's out there.
Yeah.
Posting and monitoring Facebook groups. They were saying, hey, I've got a buyer who wants to move to Florida, or I got a buyer who wants to move to Orlando. Who do you know? And it's, you got to stay top of mind in there. And so the more you post, the more you comment, the more you're going to see that on your feed. But we get a lot of business from that. And
and not making it all about business. And I do see, obviously I have a ton of realtors on my Facebook and Instagram page, and you don't want to make it all about business because people that are on your page, they don't want to see all your business. Like Todd, you do a really great job of your family. You post stupid dad jokes all the time. Like people love that. They can relate to you because it makes you become a person. And you are who you are. And I think a lot of realtors miss the boat on that because they post so much about, I'm so busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Okay, well, great. Well, what about your family? What about your life? You need to seem like a real person to other people, or they're going to stop seeing your stuff because they're not going to interact and engage with you all the time if you're always talking about real estate. They don't care.
Well, it's Don in the office. He's he posts a lot of business stuff, but he has fun with the way he's posting things because he gets creative with his videos that he's posting on there.
His videos are amazing. When he sings in the car and his daughter hates it, those are my favorite. And
you know what? It's a personal, but he plugs real estate into it, and so it's fun. Now, not all of us are going to spend the time to do those edits, but you find a way to mix business with pleasure. And I think the other part is for a new agent, for example, they don't have business sitting there already that they can go say, hey, look at me, I just sold a house. So you find, instead of it's an I, it's a we. You've got a partner agent you're working with, and you just say, hey, we just sold this, or, the office, look what our office just did this month. And so you can celebrate those successes that way. Because I think the more people see you doing stuff on Facebook, the more often they're going to think you're selling a lot of property, and you deserve the business to be referred over to you. I've seen success happen that way for agents that I know personally, and I think it's a great way to do that.
For sure.
So I'm just trying to see what else we want to dive into here. The biggest thing I think we talked about is finding the economic model that's going to work best for you, and how much you want to net at the end of the year. And we did a little worksheet on that, and I can upload the worksheet if anybody wants, or actually we will upload that worksheet after the show. But it's basically tying into how much I need to make to get to my bottom line. And you had me go up and present this, which was, I'm like, we're sitting there talking. I'm trying to like balance all the numbers out. But let's just say I wanted to make 100 grand this year. I need to figure out how much I'm going to end up paying in taxes. I need to figure out how much I'm going to spend on marketing. I need to figure out how much my rents are going to be, all my business expenses, and add that to the top. So when I said I want to make 100 grand, I figured I needed to bring in 170. And to make 100,000 in this business, I figured I needed to sell around 11 or 12 homes. But after I backed in all the expenses and the taxes, I had to actually sell 21 homes because those first 10 are going to cover my expenses. Then after that, it's pure profit. Then you got to decide, you know, some key things when you're looking at your listings and your buyers. How many buyers are you going to show? How many houses are you going to show that buyer before you go to contract? And how many of those contracts that are going to stick around on the buy side? You know, I would love to say 75 to 90% of them, you know, they're going to fall apart.
Right.
You want to talk?
Yeah, my battery's about to die.
Got it. So like your listings as well. You know, the listings, are those all going to close? I would love to say everything we list does turn to sold, but there are those listings that are either the sellers want too much money, or, you know, there's just things that happen in life for people. And if you do enough business, you're going to have a lot of fallout. You know, 10%, 15% of your business will fall out and need to be redone. Right. But so those are just some things we've got to look at when we're looking at, you know, we're doing 50% buyers, 50% sellers, you know, how we're going to keep those things together and keep them flowing through.
Well, it's funny because those are like the same things that I have to look at. So even though I do title, you know, my business is based off of you guys as realtors, and I have to look at that too, because not every contract's going to close. So I have to factor in that fallout as well. When I'm like, hey, I want 100 contracts a month. Well, what does that look like? Looks like probably about 105, 106, 107 for the fallout.
Yeah. So that's where you got to figure you know, what is it? That's why I say, how many closings do I want? And I got to figure out then how many contracts do I need to get? And, you know, I feel bad for buyer's agents because I do a lot of listings, and, you know, we get 5, 6, 7 offers on a listing. And ironically, we had a friend text us the other day who's working with another realtor because it's their husband's, their friends or whatever, from when they were kids. But she goes, we've written an offer on 3 of your listings and we have not gotten one of them yet. And I don't look at the buyer's name on the listings. I just look at. Did you say
that's because you're not using me as your realtor? Sorry.
Well, I didn't tell him this, but I'm like, I don't look at the buyer's name. I look at the realtor, the lender, and the terms. I don't care who the buyer is. And I'm like, if you guys would have submitted and said, hey, you know, hey, we're writing an offer on your listing. Can you guys, you know, give it a little more priority or whatever? Cool, I'll pay attention to it. But I look at it, I'm like, you know, their offer is not that great, you know. And they're like, why
you're doing what's best for your seller.
Yeah, you're not getting the offers because your offers, you need better education from your agent, and it's a seasoned agent. She's not putting escalation clauses and other stuff that'll help get the, you know, the buyer the contract. And she's asking Angie's like, what can we do? I'm like, well, hire us first off.
Obviously.
But, you know, we can help you write a winning offer, because apparently on the 4th or 5th contract that hasn't worked, and 3 of them have been our listings and you haven't gotten them. And I'm like, I don't honestly look at the names of the buyers. But now it's just funny. I'm gonna pay attention to the buyers' names when I see them come across now. People that we know.
So, I love that.
Well, Robin, I appreciate you popping on. And any other things we can throw at, you know, just to add success to 2021?
Anything that I would throw out there?
Yeah.
I would say, don't put too much on your plate. Don't put your focus everywhere. And it's kind of like what Todd, you said the other day with the CRM. It's only as good if you use it. So whatever you set your sights on that you're going to do for marketing, make sure you stick to it and do it to 100%. Because if you have your hand in all these little different things that you want to try to get business, you're never going to do 1 to 100%. You're doing everything, excuse my French, half-ass.
Right.
So pick those things, like you said, those 3 things. Pick what you're actually going to focus to and give 100% to, or you're only going to give a little bit here, there, and it's not going to work. It's just not.
Well, and that's smart, because like I said, I've got my hands on a lot of stuff, but I also have people to help manage that. And if I'm trying to do that on my own, I'm basically going to watch my credit cards go up, 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 and my sales go down, 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 because I'm not focused on I'm focused on too many things as a single agent. As you grow teams and you can hire people to help manage, then you have protocols that go behind each one of those things. And you got to try stuff for 90 to 120 days before you decide to get rid of it. Because I can't go run a Zillow ad or a Facebook ad or a Google ad and expect to get a buyer the next day from it. And
no, and if you do, that's like, woo, rock star. But yeah, well, I say the same thing when people want to do mailers. Like you do a really big mailing campaign in a neighborhood.
Yep.
And I talk to people about that all the time. And they think, well, mailers don't work. Postcards don't work. Well, yeah, they don't work if you only do it once or twice. You really have to market the heck out of that and be consistent with it. I mean, how long did it take for your phone to ring when you started your farming in that neighborhood? And you do a big mailer.
We've been doing mailings in there for 10 years, and it took a while. But what's funny is the card. You got to figure the card. You got to mail a large enough card they're going to keep.
Yes.
That's going to get in front of them. You don't mail a little.
Not those little tiny ones. No.
You mail a 6x9. Use every door direct. Don't get if you can get very specific on your mailing, or you can do a very broad mailing and have the postage very cheap. And so I get a listing appointment a year, maybe 2 or 3 listings a year from cards that I mailed 2 to 3 years ago. And it's the ones they got it. Looks like a fancy card. Looks like a good realtor. I'm going to put it in my drawer. And when I go and I ask where you got we got a mailing, I'm like, God, because I track our stuff. So I have a phone number on there that is just the postcards. And I'm like, God, we haven't mailed in your neighborhood in probably 3 years. What is that? What card was it? Because I start engaging when I'm at the appointment, about where they found us again, because I don't remember mailing anything around there, and recently. And she goes,
right.
She just sold. I'm like, oh shit, we sold that 3 years ago. Oh yeah, that's when I got the card. I'm like, oh wow, I guess there is shelf life for postcards, people. So
yes,
work. It sometimes might take 3 years to get that call.
It does, but it's consistency, and you didn't give up. You're very consistent with it, and I feel like that's a big downfall on a lot of agents. They do not stay consistent. They're always on to the next best thing. Well, this didn't work. I'm going to do this. This isn't working. I'm going to do this. Well, you're not working it hard enough. That's why it doesn't work.
It's like going to the convention. You come back with 3. You come back with 20 good ideas. You got to pick 3, and then work on those. Don't come back and do all 20, because I go to conferences and I'll sit there and slack my team all these great ideas, and they're like, stop.
Oh my God.
Stop,
yes,
stop,
please.
Notebook and put them away after you get home.
That's what Amanda does. She's at these conferences and she'll start texting us this, and we're like, oh my God, here we go. Here we freaking go. It's so true though. You take a whole bunch of notes. You're like, yeah. You get back and you're like, why did I take 12 pages of notes? I don't even know what I'm reading.
All those screenshots of the board up front. You can't read.
Oh, guilty.
We got 16,000 photos on my iPhone. I think 8,000 of them are screenshots. Whatever.
Maybe that should be part of your business plan. I'm going to go through all of my screenshots and see if any of these are actually going to work this year.
Right, exactly. Well, all right, I'm going to take the next week off. I'll be back in touch.
Oh, yes.
Go through it. My phone somehow is running that much faster. Oh. Well, everybody, this is our last show for 2020. I appreciate you guys diving in. We will upload the sheet that talks about how to do an economic model. And if you guys want to spend time going through it, please reach out to me directly, and I'll be happy to sit down and break down some numbers with you one-on-one. We'll jump on a Zoom. Robin, I do appreciate you jumping on here today, giving us the final show of 2020. This has been a fun, I think, 5 or 6 months I've been running this channel. And it's awesome. Looking forward to some 2021 shows coming up, working on our schedules and our audience, not our audience, but our guests that we have coming up for 2021. We're really excited with that. We've got some new hosts coming in as well. So we're going to be bringing a lot more value back to this page than we have in 2020. So we're looking for some great things to happen. So everybody, thank you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Wait, I have to show everyone my ugly sweater for the day.
Yeah. Oh, you just disconnected. Give her 2 seconds to pop back in. If she doesn't, she's out. All right, everybody. Have a great one.